Welcome, brave souls, to Fear File Chronicles, your one-way ticket to spine-chilling stories and terrifying tales. Tonight, we'll be diving into the darkest corners of the human mind with the story, The Wonderland Killer, penned by the twisted mind of a talented yet sadly unknown author. Together, we'll explore the unexplained and face our deepest fears. But before we begin, if you enjoy trembling in terror, be sure to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow fear fanatics, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell notification so you never miss an eerie episode. Your support truly means the world to us, so feel free to leave a comment below to join the Fear File Chronicles community. Now, without further ado, let's unravel the mysteries of the unknown together as we delve into tonight's fear-inducing story, The Wonderland Killer. Dim the lights and prepare yourself for a chilling journey into the Fear File Chronicles.
I don't really remember everything about this story, so I guess I'll just start from where I can remember. Everything was fine until I started university. I was so excited about the idea of living with a roommate. The idea of being able to do what I wanted without my parents keeping tabs on me was appealing. I was thrilled at the prospect of being totally independent. Everything was absolutely fine, until the murders began. I was only 20 when they started. Some psycho was running around campus killing off students, faculty, and even visitors. We were told to go everywhere in pairs or groups. But honestly, what good was that? For all we knew, we were paired up with the killer, walking straight into their trap. Walking to and from classes was terrifying. Going back and forth between the main buildings and the dorms was daunting, especially since we were surrounded by forest. The more bodies that kept showing up, the more the environment at the school began to change. The police started to question whether or not we were being threatened by one killer or by a group of them. They referred to this possible group as the Wonderland Killers. Each kill seemed to be performed by someone different, but they eventually began to backtrack on themselves and repeat. The public wasn't aware of all the information, but there were a few people in our school who interned at the local station. They managed to smuggle information from the case files. The police suspected that the Wonderland Killers were a gang of 5 people. Each had their own preferred method and victim profile. These killers were given nicknames, since the cops had no real names or even aliases. Each murder had a unique calling card. This led to the killers being named after characters from Lewis Carroll's beloved children's novels. The first to make himself known was the White Rabbit. Originally, he seemed to be a lone psycho with a scalpel. Nobody saw him. He seemed to choose victims at random: drunks, homeless people, and other unsuspecting individuals. The incisions were crude and messy until they reached the chest. There, they became surgical and precise, suggesting he might have been rushing or fearing capture. The only things left at the scene were the body, a bloodied handkerchief with an embroidered white rabbit, and a drawing of a clock pointing to 4 p.m. in the victim's blood. It was the appearance of these consistent clues that made police realize he had committed multiple murders. Next was the Dormouse, one of the eerier killers. Nobody knew their gender. They lured men from bars and clubs into quiet alleys. There, they would strangle them with their own belts, leaving their bodies displayed like grim decorations. The only clue left behind was a stuffed dormouse toy. The police scoured these crime scenes, hoping to identify the dormouse, but always came up empty. It seemed that the only witnesses were the deceased victims. Then came the Tweedles. Inspired by the Tweedledee and Tweedledum characters, the police theorized that the Tweedles might actually be 2 distinct people. This belief stemmed from the drastically different conditions of the victims they left behind. One victim would have their head brutally bludgeoned, showing signs of being struck multiple times with a flat, wide object. The other victim's bones would be shattered, their body left to bleed out in grotesque contortions. Public attention then shifted to the Queen of Hearts. The nature of the murders grew increasingly gruesome. This killer was believed to be female, deduced from the calling card she left. She would decapitate her victims. The scene would always include a pristine deck of playing cards. Prominently displayed would be a bloodied red queen card, placed eerily in the mouth of the severed head. The weapon was presumed to be sharp and heavy, possibly an axe. Lastly, there was the Mad Hatter. As his name hinted, he was far from stable. The police couldn't pinpoint this killer's gender, but due to the sheer brutality of his crimes, many believed he was male. He targeted criminals, predators, and even some of the town's known neglectful parents. His choice of locales was eclectic, from abandoned buildings to burned houses and isolated cabins in the woods. Once he had them there, he would make incisions, removing organs while they still showed signs of life. These organs were then strewn about like grotesque decorations. He seemed to be the one most feared, viewed as the most unhinged of the group. It's funny thinking about it now. How terrified I was of these characters. How I feared becoming their next victim. That's no longer a concern for me. I've grown accustomed to them, recognizing their unique triggers. The white rabbit appears when I hear a clock ticking too loudly. Time unnerves him, perhaps because he's perpetually late. When I'm near a toy store or see one of my plushies, Dormouse emerges. Tea can soothe her, but she forbids me from drinking alcohol. The Tweedle brothers are more unpredictable. Sweets and praises can pacify them. If I don't provide sweets swiftly, they search for affirmation elsewhere. Queenie is notoriously difficult to handle. Royalty has its whims, after all. But she does find solace in games like chess, cards, or croquet. Just never dictate her actions, or she'll rear her head. The Hatter, however, is a different beast entirely. His insanity makes him unpredictable. He has a fondness for his coat, always stocked with sugar cubes. He forces me to don white makeup, which feels irritating when removed the following day. He's also quite particular about keeping his knife pristine. The blade's reflection gives me a peculiar sensation. One consistent observation: he despises the police. Currently, he's jostling for dominance among the others. I'm nearing the end of my tale. This is all the information they need. Before the Hatter takes control again, the police want me to sign this statement. I've mostly forgotten my original name as it's seldom used. So, I'll use the name the others have bestowed upon me, Alice.
Well, my friends, we've reached the end of tonight's chilling tale, The Wonderland Killer, by a talented yet sadly unknown author. I hope you've enjoyed our descent into darkness and that you'll carry a piece of the Fear File Chronicles with you as you drift into uneasy dreams. If our story left you shivering and shaking, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who crave a good scare, and subscribe to the Fear File Chronicles for more haunting horrors. Remember to hit the bell notification so you're always among the first to know when a new nightmare awaits. As always, we appreciate your support and would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Sharing your fears and frights with us truly means a lot. So don't be shy to engage with our sinister community. Until next time, remember to embrace the darkness, for it is within the shadows that our most terrifying stories are born. Good night, and stay scared.